Sonic the Hedgehog is a multimedia icon. Whether it's a game, movie, TV show, or ice cream bar, it's kinda hard to avoid the hedgehog. Sonic is iconic. Bro already has his own fast food restaurant. But how did it get to this? What made Sonic the Hedgehog so iconic? Well, this can all be traced back to the first ever Sonic game, Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Released in 1991 for the Sega Genesis, Sonic took the world by storm. Not only was the game successful, but it also made the Sega Genesis the hottest console on the market, meaning that Sega was rivaling Nintendo, the king of video games. So with that information in mind, you might think that Sonic 1 is some sort of masterpiece. Sonic 1 is an okay start to the series. It's not a bad game, but it's not a great game either. But before we talk about the game itself, we need to go back to 1985, when the NES, along with Super Mario Bros., was released in North America. The NES was a tremendous success and made Nintendo the king of video games during the 80s, with Mario being the most recognizable video game character with his many successful games. And also whatever the this was. After seeing the success Nintendo was having with the NES and Super Mario Bros., Sega said,
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
So in 1988, Sega had an internal character design competition to design a video game character that could rival Nintendo's Mario. There were a lot of ideas, but they ended up sticking with this blue hedgehog, going by the name of Mr. Needle Mouse. But after realizing that they actually wanted people to buy this game, they changed it to Sonic. After Sonic's design was finalized, the game started being made, and once the game was finished, Sega had a crazy marketing campaign, promoting Sonic as this must-buy video game, a system seller, the reason to buy a Sega Genesis instead of a Super Nintendo. And finally, on June 23rd of 1991, Sonic the Hedgehog was unleashed, and there was a massive W for Sega. The game sold like crazy and got people to buy the Sega Genesis. Not to mention that it was this game that started an iconic multimedia franchise, with countless games and millions of fans to this day. Even though the game is mid, Sonic the Hedgehog has 6 different zones, each one having 3 acts and a boss fight against Dr. Robotnik. The game is a speed-based platformer, and the gameplay is momentum-based. Sonic feels fun to control, but most of the enjoyment of this game depends on the levels. The first one being Green Hill Zone. This level is a perfect Sonic level. It perfectly shows what Sonic is all about, going fast and discovering different pathways to finish the level faster. Green Hill Zone is perfect because of how well it introduces the appeal of the game, and also because it's just a flat-out fun level. The music is iconic, the visuals are beautiful, everything just pops. Green Hill is an absolutely incredible level, and I don't think this game would have been so iconic without it. Green Hill was fresh, original, and showed everyone that Sonic was more than just your typical platformer. You can't really say that about the other levels though. Marble Zone is the second level in the game, and it's not good. Remember when I said that the enjoyment of this game depends on the levels? Well, it really shows here. Sonic is supposed to go fast, build up momentum, and discover different ways to beat the level faster, not sit and wait. Marble Zone is linear, slow, and the level design is downright unfair at times. Marble Zone goes against everything that Sonic is supposed to be. It feels like it would be better suited for a slower platformer, not this one. It's not a god-awful level or anything, but it is a bad Sonic level. Spring Yard Zone is up next, and it's a much better level. It still has a lot of the flaws that were in Marble Zone, like the unfair level design, but this one actually lets Sonic go fast, which is a plus, and bouncing off these springs is really fun at times. I also like how each level gets more and more mechanical looking, since the story of the game is all about Dr. Robotnik trying to mechanicalize the world. But yeah, Spring Yard is okay. But you know what's not okay? Labyrinth Zone. I am not exaggerating when I say that Labyrinth Zone is probably the worst Sonic level I ever played. And trust me, I played some bad Sonic levels before, don't worry. Labyrinth Zone is abysmal. You know how Sonic is supposed to go fast? That's kind of like his entire thing, right? Well, this level doesn't because it's full of tight underwater platforming. And you might be saying that doesn't sound that bad. Okay, the water makes Sonic like 10 times slower. So imagine Marble Zone, but with even worse level design and underwater physics. And if that was not bad enough, if Sonic doesn't take one of these oxygen bubbles every 15 seconds, he drowns and dies. Add all of that together and you have 3 acts worth of pain and suffering. I'm surprised my controller is still intact, because this level made me want to chuck it outside. That was a close one. The only redeemable quality of this level is the music.
My name is Cleveland Brown, and I am proud to be right back in my hometown with my new family.
Thankfully afterwards we get an actually good level in the form of Starlight Zone. The music is great, there are multiple pathways, the atmosphere of the level is chill, it lets Sonic go fast, and the boss battle is unique. There are 2 ways to defeat it, either by throwing spikes to Robotnik or throwing Sonic to Robotnik. I don't know, I just kinda like this level. It's not as good as Green Hill, but overall, it's a good, solid level. And the music for some reason makes me feel really nostalgic, even though I never got to this level as a kid. Yeah, fun fact, the first time I ever played this game was on the DS when I was a little kid. With the Sonic Classic Collection, it was a really cool collection. Obviously, Mega Collection and Origins are better, but at the time this was a really cool way to play the classic Sonic games on the go. Wait, what am I talking about? This video is about Sonic 1. And finally, we got Scrap Brain Zone. This is the last level in the game before the final boss, meaning that it's also the hardest, at least according to the game. Act 1 is pretty good if you know what you're doing, Act 2 is full of BS, and Act 3 is...
Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street and I know it's my time to go.
After having to play that terrible level, Sonic goes against Dr. Robotnik for the final time. And the final boss is actually pretty good. The music is absolutely perfect, and even though the actual fight is not amazing or anything, it's still a very fun final boss battle, and it's definitely one of my favorite boss battles in this game. Final Zone is a good final boss battle, and although it could be better, it's a good way to end Sonic 1. And that was Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Overall, not a bad start to the series. Despite its many, and I mean many flaws, this is still a solid game that laid the foundation for the series, and I appreciate it for that. It's not a great game, but it's an iconic one, and a year later, we ended up getting what I believe to be a perfect sequel in the form of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which I will talk about very soon, but for now, thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and always remember, if you think you're playing a bad level in a video game, it could be worse.